Dudes, come on, we got a trebuchet to build.
I'm ready.
No season of MythBusters would be complete if we did not devote an episode to our all-time favorite mechanical cure-all, the miracle material that is duct tape. We've built boats, more than one, bridges.
That really is quite hairy.
We've belayed off of cliffs.
And we've picked up cars. And we picked you up, for that matter, and hung you upside down.
Fun for the whole family.
Exactly, which begs the question, what do we build in another episode devoted to duct tape? What haven't we made?
And what did we come up with?
Well, we will be testing whether duct tape is a viable replacement for a car's seatbelt and how well it holds up in an accident. So there will be some car crashing. But first up, we're going to build a weapon of war. One from back when you were just a little tyke. I think we should make a duct tape trebuchet.
That's excellent. It's got to be the ultimate test for duct tape's abilities. Plus, I've always wanted to build a trebuchet.
So have I, and it's now or never. Let's get building.
Okay?
Our death ray doesn't seem to be working. I'm standing right in it, and I'm not dead yet.
When it comes to ancient weapons of war,
We hit the blue!
the MythBusters' 14-year history is loaded with fun and ammo. And in this epic duct tape spectacular, not only are they tackling the most mechanically intricate medieval weapon ever made, they have to stick it all together with nothing but their all-time favorite material.
All right, I like this.
But first, Adam puts the tape aside to work out how one works.
All right, I think we have enough built now to talk about the component pieces of a trebuchet and how they work. Graphics, can you help me out? The main parts are the stand, the swing arm, and the fulcrum the swing arm pivots on. Now, the swing arm has a weight at one end and a sling at the other. And here are some important relationships. There's a relationship between the long part of the swing arm and the short part. That's 3.75 to 1. And the sling wants to be exactly the length of the long part of the swing arm. If you get all that right, apparently this thing throws farther than just about any other medieval weapon of war.
The real long shot will be getting a full-size trebuchet to work with only duct tape to hold it together.
So the weight here is the soul of the trebuchet. The gravitational pull of this weight down causes the whole mechanism to work.
In the toughest duct tape task the team has ever tackled, that counterweight will eventually weigh 750 pounds and exert more than 3,000 foot-pounds of torque.
That's a fully loaded trebuchet right there. Let's see what happens. I flung it into the ground. That's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. I love making these demonstration models. I hit the ceiling. Clearly, somewhere in the middle is my goal. It's often some of the most fun that I have on the show. I think I made too much of a cup. There is nothing better than being able to lay your hands on something, even if you're going to build it 10 times as large. It didn't let go. Why didn't it let go? What the hell? Slightly bigger nut, much bigger nut. There are all these different relationships. There's a relationship between the short part of the arm and the long part of the arm. Whoa! Okay, there's a relationship between the weight of the weight and the weight of the payload. I'm learning something. That's the exciting part. All of those relationships bear on exactly how far and how accurately these things throw. That's what I'm trying to determine and scale here.
After several hours of hands-on tinkering, Adam has the mechanics nailed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And successfully launches his model.
Wow.
So with that knowledge under their collective belts, Jamie gets down to the nuts and bolts of construction, specifically figuring out how to replace the nuts and bolts with duct tape.
So taking what Adam has learned about the trebuchet's action, my focus is going to be on construction logistics and dealing with the forces involved. At the pivot, our structure has to be able to handle in excess of 3,000 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's a heck of a lot of load for a few rolls of tape.
More tape.
Using triangulation lends itself to the abilities of the materials we have at hand.
That's going to be frickin' strong.
The compressive strength of the wood takes most of the strain, while the flexibility and adhesion of the duct tape allows us to create a series of bands to lock the whole structure together.
One.
And of course, the duct tape is also perfect for creating ropes and canvas-like materials for the sling. This is all tape and wood.
That's all tape, and these are the beams that we'll be working with.
Yeah, they're all to scale.
Nice. So Jamie was completely building his to scale, including the beams that we're going to be working with.
I mean, feel it, it's a
I
rock.
see that.
And yet it's just tape.
So he's done probably 90% of our engineering work that we're gonna have to do out in the field already here in the shop.
Not only is Jamie's design cleverly built to scale,
You made it into the loft. That is pretty darn good.
it's secured by only duct tape and tosses Adam's ammo an impressive distance.
I'm pleased as punch, because it means when we go out there, it's just bigger wood and lots more tape. That's all there is to it.
Question is, can they convert their toy-sized trebuchet into a full-scale weapon of war? While the team preps, Adam conjures an unusual commuting conundrum.
Let me paint you a picture. You've arrived at your car. First thing in the morning, you have a rush hour commute ahead of you, and you find that a rodent has chewed all the way through your seatbelt. Pop quiz, what do you do?
Make it out of duct tape.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do.
And there are going to be car crashes then.
Yes, there are. We're gonna have to test the efficacy of the seatbelt by crashing more than one car.
I like it.
Seat belts made of polyester have a braking strength of 6,000 pounds and save tens of thousands of lives every year.
Wear a seatbelt, always.
But in an average 25-mile-an-hour crash, could a duct tape stand-in really stay intact? Or is this myth a stretch too far for the tacky tape?
This lovely stretch of tarmac I'm riding on is the runway at the New Jerusalem airport. And today, we're gonna be setting up some car crashes to see if duct tape can actually save your life. The calm before the storm. Car crashes. Right alongside explosives, they've been one of our specialties on MythBusters. We've crashed into cars with trucks. We've crashed cars in professional facilities. Heck, we've even crashed cars into barriers made solely of duct tape. Yeah! Today, we are trying something brand new for us. We are going to crash our cars for this experiment into a pair of giant shipping containers with welded steel plates on their front end.
It's the ultimate test of the tape's tensile talents. Can it withstand the stopping force of a fatal car crash?
Oh, chunky.
To find out, the team is using their crash test dummy
Nice.
for its intended purpose.
Buster's going to be driving this car at speed into our trench plates. But the problem is, well, Buster has no brain. He can't drive.
The solution? A familiar MythBuster method. The self-steering tow rig.
What we have here is not that much different than a normal steering system. Like when you turn your steering wheel, you move both wheels evenly back and forth. We've just got a longer bar extending from them, and if we put a cable in the middle, this will make both wheels go wherever we pull it.
To help Jamie test the tow system, up steps the original MythBusters crash test dummy.
Jamie! What the hell was that? Last time I got in a car that no one was driving, things went badly.
But many years of practice
Look, Ma, no hands.
make for fewer fences crashed.
Looking good.
So part one of our setup is done. Ready to drive on its own. Next up is to remove the car windows. Yeah, that'll do it. Myth, car windows are really delicate. busted. Check that out. That's a sledgehammer. Nothing. It's ridiculous. All right. Cut a new sunroof.
This is just like a sardine can.
So we can clearly see what's happening inside there. Yeah! Come on down to Adam and Jamie's body shop. Nice stash. Step 3 is to put Buster and a passenger in this car. Yeah, baby. Remember, the #1 thing you want in an accident is clean underwear.
Why 2 dummies? Well, the driver will get a duct tape seatbelt, and for a control and comparison, his passenger has a regular one.
Step 4 is to replace Buster's seatbelt with duct tape. Let's just do an experiment. How much duct tape can I fit through? That's 4 layers. That still fits. 8 layers of duct tape. Still fits. 2 more. Here is 10 layers of duct tape. Nope. That's 9 layers of duct tape. That's it. 9 layers it is. So we've arrived at the soul of this story, that a broken seatbelt can be replaced in a pinch with duct tape. Excellent. Uh-oh. What? I'm gonna have to remove some of these layers to fit it through the shoulder buckle. The improvised seatbelt that I've made for Buster is made of between 6 and 9 layers of duct tape. Now it's time to tie it into the car. And for the bottom, since I've got this seatbelt sitting here, I'm gonna just tie a knot. Now, when we did Duct Tape Bridge, we did some tensile strength testing on duct tape and found that it had a breaking strength of 67.3 pounds per layer. When you calculate that out, that means that Buster's got a strap that has a 400-pound breaking strength at his shoulder and a 600-pound breaking strength at his waist.
So with the thickest possible duct tape seatbelt ready for action, how will the guys make a post-crash comparison of the damage to the dummies?
We're going to look at the accelerometer readings of G-forces that these guys are experiencing and see if there's any difference between the one with the seatbelt made of duct tape and the other with the conventional one.
You might be wondering, what is an accelerometer? This little tiny cube, it is a highly sensitive piece of electronic equipment that can tell when it's being moved in the X, Y, or Z direction and how fast and with how much force it was moved in those directions. This is exactly the kind of data you need to know what happens inside of a car, and more specifically, inside of a body during a car accident.
The next step is to apply the final touches to the tow system.
This runway is a pristine environment for laying down a cable. There we go, good. Ready to be a coffee table in a dorm room.
With the cables laid, they measure and mark the distance required to hit the 25-mile-per-hour target speed.
And that's 300 feet.
And add the all-important breakaway.
Because we don't want to yank the back of the truck off or break the cable. 8, 9, 10. And I figured, since this is about duct tape, let's use duct tape. There we go.
Now I get to watch this crash from the coolest vantage point possible, 15 feet above the crash from this boom lift. I'm gonna get in right now.
The final step is to crash the car into the containers at a bone-crunching 25 miles an hour and find out if duct tape can save your life as effectively as a real seatbelt.
Well, time to smash a car.
I'm in position, ready to go.
Count it in.
All right, this is duct tape seatbelt crash test at 25 miles an hour in 3, 2, 1. There it is, he's starting. Stop, it broke. It broke at the car. It broke at the car. We're no strangers to snafus here on MythBusters. That cable that's pulling the car broke away. That's a problem, so we're gonna make it a little stronger.
Relax. This won't hurt a bit.
Adam and Jamie are once again tackling the ubiquitous utility of duct tape.
Oh, it's for real.
Their past is littered with a litany of mythical uses for this miracle mechanical cure-all.
Nice work, sir.
It's been proven plausible or confirmed an incredible 21 times. And back on the seatbelt story, Buster's hoping that impressive record continues.
Remember, the heart of this myth is that duct tape could help you survive a car accident. Specifically, that if your seatbelt failed, you could replace it with duct tape. Duct tape, seatbelt, 25-mile-per-hour crash, so that it would help you survive a car accident. Go! Starting slowly. Yep, here it comes, here it comes. It's beautiful. Whoa! That hit a lot of things. Woo! Woo! Ha! That, yeah, things moved a bit.
That was close to catastrophe.
So what happened?
Well, it veered off to the right and hit only the right-hand container, sending it about a foot back. It actually came back far enough to bump the boom lift that we were in. We got a little bit of a ride.
The boom lift was shaken, and Adam was stirred. But what about the seatbelt, the thickest that could possibly be made out of duct tape? Did it save Buster?
The duct tape seatbelt broke. It's 9 layers at the belt. It's only 6 layers at the shoulder, but that's where it broke.
Which we'll be able to see through the custom-made cutout roof, right?
Yeah, well, about that. Unfortunately, since the car tracked offline by about 3 feet, yeah, see? We're gonna try and fix that for the next one, so you get some juicy high speeds. But for right now, we just wanted you to know the truth.
Remember those accelerometers we put on the dummies? Well, the data's in, and it's cool. Our passenger received 30 G's to his head and 50 G's to his body. He wouldn't have been a happy camper. He might have sustained some injuries, but he might have made it. The guy with the duct tape seatbelt, however, is another story. He got in excess of 130 G's, both in his head and his body. He's dead.
The traditional duct tape seatbelt design failed. The myth, like Buster, is busted. Meaning it's time to ramp it up.
If duct tape is gonna help somebody survive a car accident, it's gonna have to be more than a belt.
Yep, this duct tape tall tale is far from dead and buried.
Oh, no. We've only proven that a duct tape seatbelt won't work, but that doesn't mean that duct tape can't help. We have some other ideas.
While Buster patiently waits for another potentially fatal car crash, the guys are back on the trail of the duct tape trebuchet.
It's an accelerator. You're exchanging heavy weight with 3.75 times the speed of the fall, and you've got that additional bonus of a little centrifugal force with the sling.
It's pretty awesome.
To turn prototype proficiency into the real deal,
That's a perfect battlefield for a trebuchet, huh?
they're attempting the biggest duct tape assembly in MythBuster history.
Now, I know there might be some purists among you who look at this giant stack of wood and think, duct tape, why, that's mostly wood. And I will remind you, when we built the first duct tape sailboat, it had a steel frame. Yeehaw! When we escaped from a deserted island in the 20-foot duct tape outrigger canoe, that also had bamboo as its structural medium. And so it is in this case of our trebuchet that pine here is our structural member, but duct tape is our only binder. No screws, no nothing, just duct tape.
Now, this cut list is basically this scaled up times 6.
The first cut.
And I've done it using the same lengths of wood, so this right here is our blueprint.
With the cuts complete, the building begins with the 4 triangles that make up the stand. By exactly following Jamie's 3D blueprint, the main challenge is to ensure the giant jigsaw sticks together. How much they need is a guessing game, so their strategy is simple.
10 wraps.
They're going to spread the load and err on the side of caution by using as much duct tape as they possibly can.
This bit in the middle here, this is the business end of what's going on in this structure.
I'm getting kind of psyched to see this thing go.
The weight of the actual swing arm is pushing down on that area, and all that load's going right to that center piece.
Yeah, like Egyptians.
So without the tape,
There you go.
everything falls apart.
Got another roll for me?
To help hold the load-bearing triangles in place,
Thank you.
they're using the tape in all its versatile forms.
Recognize this? It's our duct tape rope. It's made of 7 strands of duct tape, all twisted together into one solid rope. And, you know, it'll easily suspend a person, kind of like a climbing rope.
Woo! Ho, ho, ho. Oh, ha!
What it gives us here is the ability to tie it and twist it, because we don't want this stuff to move very much. With the tape, while it grips, it doesn't really have a lot of squeeze, and we want some squeeze. That's what this is going to give us.
What I love about this kind of engineering is trying to physically understand all the forces you're going to be dealing with. The force is coming this way, and it's
Yeah.
going to want to jump out of here. So
Yeah.
the most critical point of failure is right here, where the tension's going to be, where things are going to want to fail, where they're going to leap out, and trying to run those off at the pass ain't going nowhere. It's a deeply pleasurable experience to think through the device and all the weight and force and torque it's going to be under, and to try and make an end run pass around that. 3, 2, 1, up. And here we go. Watch your feet there and down.
With the first 2 triangles tied and taped into submission, and then raised into position,
Yes.
the giant scale of this build comes into perspective.
This is by far the heaviest thing we have ever made out of duct tape.
My way?
Keep coming, good. Okay.
And with the second stand standing, it's even more impressive.
Look, I recognize you might be watching this thinking that we're going a little overboard on the wrapping. But let me run you through a thought experiment. Picture this trebuchet firing. Picture the force of it firing, rattling the entire structure. It's cool, right? But it's also a problem. The rattling of the structure is energy that's being expended doing something other than hurling our projectile. We want this machine to be efficient. That means we want to take all the energy of the gravitational pull on the weight, hurling the sling, going towards the projectile's ultimate distance, not in the rattling of the structure itself. And because we're holding this whole thing together with duct tape, rattling means that it could actually start to fall apart, and that's another problem. So the tighter we make it, the more efficient we make it. That's the theory, and we're sticking to it.
But will it stand up to the incredible force of a full-scale medieval weapon of war?
Kind of curious about that myself. With the main structure of our trebuchet completed, it's time for Jamie and I to move on to the axle and the throwing arm, which is quite literally the business end of a trebuchet. Critical little bit of engineering. The amount of stress on that joint is massive.
The technique used to secure the machine's major moving parts is crucial. The energy transfer and torque through the pivot will be enormous. And the key to success will be duct tape's ability to stick them together, the smooth rotation of a soon-to-be rounded axle,
This adze is a tool I made myself.
and the sling.
While Jamie works on the axle, I'm going to start working on the basket. This is the thing that flings. It's going to be made out of duct tape, and it's going to be made out of duct tape rope. The energy of the trebuchet is distributed to that load and has to throw it. So this basket has to be very, 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 did I say very? Very robust. Duct tape is particularly fantastic, as we've learned over the years, for making very strong cloth and tarps, especially when you put one side up and then stick one side down on top of it.
With the sling suitably secure and the axle rounded and ready to roll, it's time to join them to the swing arm.
Are they going in?
That is. It's seated nicely.
It's here that the trebuchet will exert the most strain. To contain it, the guys continue their duct tape tactic.
Lots of duct tape.
When in doubt, tape it down.
If you're going to make a trebuchet, you're going to need a big weight. We've got just the thing.
The counterweight, the trebuchet's engine room. It has to be attached securely enough so that it can be repeatedly raised and dropped, transferring its gravitational potential to the payload.
We've got two things going on that we have to worry about. One is the elasticity of this tape. It stretches. And the other thing is the shock loading.
Oh, yeah.
This engine, once it starts to bounce around from being released, it's going to weigh many times its weight.
Good? You're looking good?
So the fact that there's not a single nail or screw is, well, it's risky. It's anybody's guess whether it's going to work.
Huh, huh.
With only one less than ideal material to work with,
We've had several lines break. I'm going to need a lot more of this than I thought I would.
frustration sets in.
That's not sliding at all.
No, it's not. What the hell?
Normally, when we're building something, we get to choose the right materials for the job. In this case, they're not exactly ideal. The duct tape is so stretchy and soft. It cuts really easily, and we've got all these different attachment points that we have to go to. A lot of them have sharp edges, and so some lines pull taut and they break, others just stretch, and it's just this kind of gooey mess that is problematic to work with.
So we're looking at a new way of holding the engine to our structure in a way that distributes the engine's load more gracefully across the whole structure. That's the idea anyway. Problem right now is that these are too long.
If we start to load this, it is going to stretch.
As they say, no plan survives first contact with implementation. The problem with that to me is that this thing could then twist against them. And that's what's happening here.
Eventually, with 8 more lengths of rope to further spread the load, they think they have a working solution. But will it hold?
This might actually be happening.
Finally, with 73 rolls of the sticky stuff, we have liftoff. But with the light fading, it's over to Seatbelt Central, where it's make or break for the tape.
Duct tape's made of a thin layer of polyethylene, a layer of lightweight cloth, and adhesive. I'm ready. Now, the manufacturers want you to be able to rip it like so. It makes it handy. That also makes it weak.
It's beautiful.
He's dead. That is, unless you use it in the right way. If you have an adhesive on something, it means you can put it everywhere. And the cumulative tensile strength of the tape can be strong enough to do some amazing things. Will it be strong enough to hold Buster in a car crash? Well, that remains to be seen.
Yep, contrary to the myth, it wasn't strong enough as a like-for-like seatbelt replacement. But in a new car, Buster and his partner are set for take 2.
One crash test down, one broken seatbelt. But this is only one way to use duct tape to hold Buster in this car safely. I'm about to explore another way. All right, here is the new plan. Clearly, because the seatbelt buckle only fits 9 layers, that design is totally out. I'm now thinking of taping our driver directly to his seat. Let's call it a body belt. 2 points of contact across the chest and across the pelvis. Double the layers, at least 18 layers. Also, I'm not convinced the seat mounts of the seat are strong enough to hold the whole driver, so I'm also going to anchor him to the body, the frame of the car. I get another roll? Is this going to keep our driver in the seat in a car accident? After seeing how quickly it snapped the 9 layers, I'm not sure, but there's no way to find out but trying. Look, I'm aware that you might see footage like this and conclude that I don't care about Buster's well-being, that I delight in watching him be hurt.
Nice work, Buster! Nice work!
But would someone who didn't care about Buster go to all this length to protect him? I think not.
And speaking of getting hurt,
Please, 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 please. If this turns out to work, don't try it at home. Really, seriously, don't. All right, Mr. Heineman, are you ready?
Set to go.
All right, sir, on my mark.
This is the ultimate duct tape seatbelt 25-mile-per-hour crash, commencing in 3, 2, 1, go crash. Car is moving. All right, that's good. I hear the cable going through the keeper there, moving forward. Looks like it's going to work beautifully. Here we go. Awesome. Better than that, it looks like Buster might have survived in there. I didn't see him hit the steering wheel. Here comes the moment of truth. Woohoo! Yeah! He made it. Look at, oh my God, it broke the, wow! It broke the wrapping around his belly, but not around his chest. That is a tremendous amount of force.
Well, yet again, we've totaled the car. The duct tape seatbelt did restrain Buster, just. Now we have to look at the data and see whether he would have survived.
Let's recap the G-loads sustained by Buster and his passenger in crash number 1. And you can see the comparisons pretty directly. The passenger survives, as you'd expect with the seatbelt, and Buster dies. Now let's look at the passenger for crash number 2. Those numbers are almost identical to crash number 1, which is what we'd expect from a control. That's awesome. Now let's look at Buster's number, and we see, oh, it is confirmed by the accelerometers that the seatbelt made of duct tape saved Buster's life in that car accident. That is pretty remarkable and awesome. That's duct tape.
but this tall tale of the tape is far from finished. To conclusively prove its crash-proof credentials, there's a need for more speed.
Come on, baby!
For this last test, we're going to really up the ante by bringing the car up to 40 miles per hour, which is the industry standard for this kind of thing. Now, it doesn't sound like that much. It's only 15 miles per hour faster than what we did before. But the formula force equals mass times acceleration dictates that we're going to actually more than double that impact, and that's going to make a dramatic difference to Buster and his seatbelt.
So last time, I localized the belts into two main straps, and both of them failed. The first one completely, the second one about 85%. I don't think I'm gonna make the same mistake on this one.
Yep, this time Adam's going for a full torso wrap. And in line with the crash energy increase, he's using 40 layers, more than twice as much as last time.
I think it's gonna be enough.
Personally, I'm not so sure.
There they go, the Busters, off to risk life and fake limbs for science. Makes me a little misty. All right, sir, on my mark, this is duct tape seatbelt 40-mile-per-hour crash in 3, 2, 1, drive. Jamie's moving. Cable's tensioned up, car's moving. All right. Jamie's going. He's giving it some gas. Oh, man. This is exciting. 40 miles an hour. Come on, baby. A perfect hit. Beautiful. Our barriers stayed. The car is crashed. Doesn't look like we broke anything. Let's go see how we did. Dude.
Duct tape held.
It looks like it held. It doesn't look like it's broken on either side. He did not hit the steering wheel.
And this was a more severe impact, clearly.
During this collision, more than twice as much force was required to stop Buster from flying through the windshield. And the duct tape held. Great news for the myth? Well, according to the accelerometers, not so much.
So Buster's duct tape seatbelt held in a 40-mile-per-hour collision. It is a miracle material. Does that mean that we should all be driving around with duct tape seatbelts? Well, no. Here's the thing about a seatbelt. A seatbelt gives a little in a car accident. It actually allows you to move a little bit. And that is one of the ways it keeps you alive. Unfortunately, I tied Buster to this chair and to the body of this car with so much rigidity that a tremendous amount of the force of the accident was transferred right to Buster's torso. And unfortunately, we have to say that Buster here is totally dead.
Yep, the duct tape worked too well. There was no give, and Buster's instant deceleration was catastrophic. As versatile as it is, it simply cannot replicate a real seatbelt. Speaking of which, the control seatbelt turned out to be faulty.
That right there is where Control Buster hit his head. Unfortunately, the seatbelt didn't hold, and he experienced 475 Gs, which is entirely lethal. Just goes to show, even a 40-mile-an-hour crash, it's going to kill you without some form of restraint.
You know, it's funny, when we started this, I didn't expect we'd end up at a point where duct tape actually worked and yet still killed him.
Maybe we should have made duct tape airbags.
In this ultimate test of its abilities, duct tape has one last chance at glory.
Right, here's where we currently stand. 2,600 pounds of pine board, 78 rolls of duct tape. Our stands are up. The axle is properly attached. It's working beautifully. And it also has a 750-pound engine block hanging from the backside. I can't see any reason this won't work.
Nice and easy, no jerking.
At this point, the only thing left to do, it's bending, but it's not splitting. That is scary. Is attach the sling and try this thing out for the first time. A little more, 1 more inch. We're clipped in. I've never built a weapon of war this capable before. Let go slowly and back away. This may snap, especially one out of duct tape. The closer we get, the scarier it gets. I'm in this point where I'm getting very excited. Can you tell?
With the trebuchet locked into firing position, it's clear that this is the duct tape build to end all duct tape builds. In size, engineering complexity, and sheer ambition, it tops the lot.
Sir, there's nothing left to do but fire it. You ready?
Let's load the gun.
Okay.
First up, a test with that most medieval of ammo,
Our first ammo.
a melon.
I do not like being here. Okay,
Looks good.
that's loaded. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Safety is out. Let's retreat to a safe distance.
First firing of the duct tape trebuchet in 3, 2, 1.
Oh! Yeah!
The fears of a catastrophic failure dispelled
Boy, it was so sort of gentle watching it do its thing.
in the elegant, effortless action of the trebuchet and flight of a watermelon.
It went a good ways.
It did! 171 feet. That's a successful firing of a duct tape trebuchet. And nothing fell apart.
On closer inspection,
Hey, Adam, we've lost one line
What?
the strain did tell on the tape.
right there.
But all in all, the test fire was a success.
Now, as for what we're going to hurl next, careful watchers of MythBusters should remember that Jamie is a 7th-generation moonshiner, and we're going to add a little bit of color to the situation. Back during Prohibition, he used to get jugs of moonshine to his suppliers by hurling them through the air. Oh, yeah. Looks like I killed a Smurf. So that's what we're gonna do. Except, instead of moonshine, we're gonna use water. Loading the weapon.
Safety is clear.
We are hot, ladies and gentlemen.
Duct tape trebuchet in 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
Well, it broke nicely.
It flew true, but it wouldn't exactly intimidate an oncoming army. Jamie?
So I'm about to put together a jumbo version of a Molotov cocktail. This jug is going to be filled about 3/4 of the way up with gasoline, and it'll be corked with a burning rag. When this lands, the rag will ignite the gasoline, which by then will have sprayed everywhere, and we'll have ourselves a nice fire to frighten the enemy with.
This is it, the final fling. To fully test this taped trebuchet, held together without a single screw or bolt, they need to prove it's fully operational, capable of serving up a cocktail of death and destruction.
We're very happy with how the trebuchet is going. And I love duct tape, but I have to admit to you, it is not the ideal material to build a trebuchet out of. Trebuchet is hot. You want to set the bottle? And this device is still very, very dangerous, even standing still. Beauty. And now that we're adding flaming gasoline Molotov cocktails to the mix. Jamie, you ready? All right, here we go. Holding the safety. The danger quotient is going up exponentially. Trebuchet is hot! And it is the very reason why I am dressed for success in a proximity suit. Lighting the fuse. I will be zipped up to light the Molotov cocktail, but I will also be standing at the ready to put out anything that's burning. We're lit. Back to the trigger. Well, more specifically, anything that's burning that we didn't intend to burn. Stuff we want to burn, we're just gonna go get some marshmallows and watch it. All right. Duct tape trebuchet! Flaming ball of awesome! Here we go, in 3, 2, 1! Oh!
Well,
I held on to it a little long.
yeah.
But that was a nice conflagration, and a rig's nut on fire.
Which is good.
Well, that was a bit of a letdown. The trebuchet basically just hurled the cocktail right into the ground. Everything was working perfectly. It was burning well. The launch was perfect except for one thing, and that was that the lines that hold on to the bottle got tangled, and they didn't release quickly enough. So we're gonna do the same exact thing again.
Another launch.
And pay very careful attention to the placement of the line so that doesn't happen.
Jamie's prepping the fuse of our little cocktail there. This is where it's time to move slowly, but methodically, purposefully, and also strangely quickly so that we're done as fast as we can be. I don't like working with gasoline, especially don't like hurling it long distances. We are lit. Count it in, sir.
Flaming trebuchet out of duct tape in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah! Woo!
That was a good one.
A medieval weapon of war held together by duct tape spreads fire and fury. Surely a world first.
Now we need something to burn to the ground. Now we can use the trebuchet to hit something. Yeah, the fire was never an end in and of itself. We always intended to set something on fire. Bring it in over here. All right, perfect. It's a weapon of war. We've got to use it to destroy something. And oh boy, did we find something fun to destroy. Yeah! My crew hasn't told me what this looks like. They just said it's not a castle. Oh, yeah. What the hell is this thing? Wow. Some giant slide. What the hell? Woo! Is this possible that we got a giant inflatable shark? That's freaking awesome. Woo! Whoa! Whoa! Woo! Woo!
Well, it's a little random, but it definitely deserves to be destroyed.
In a couple minutes, we're gonna finally answer the question, can a duct tape trebuchet be a viable weapon of war? Lighting her up. There we go. Can it actually take out a target?
We're lit. We are hot.
In a moment, we're gonna find out just how good a weapon of war it actually is. Okay, here we go. Duct tape trebuchet, the final warmongering blast in 3, 2, 1, pull!
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah! We hit it! It's burning! She burns!
Wow. That's going up in a hurry.
Oh, yeah! That is the last inflatable shark that will with us.
It's actually pretty impressive because here's thousands of pounds of wood, a throwing arm that's moving violently that weighs hundreds of pounds, and it's holding on to an engine block. And yet, there's not a single screw, no pins, there's nothing but tape holding this machine together.
Best day ever!
And so, as far as I'm concerned, for what it is, it's darn near perfect.
Hey, nice work there, sir.
And I can't think of a more dramatic way of demonstrating just how strong something as simple as tape can actually be if it's applied in the right way.